MainStCEO, our CEO lunch break. I introduce Sheldon Rummer.
Yes, hello, it's Sheldon Bartlett Rummer with This Is It TV and IG Creative.
Brendan McGrew from Bourbon Blue.
Chris Barnes, managing partner, Lucky's Last Chance.
Yay!
So we're here part of the CEO lunch break. We want to talk about things that matter to CEOs and things that matter to our businesses, regardless of where we are. Because a lot of what we talk about is, even though we're in different businesses,
Yeah.
not everybody, but Brendan does. But before us at the table, we share commonalities that all small business owners do. Today, January's issue, the content will start in November, and we're going to roll up, MainStCEO will roll up until January.
Okay.
But the issue in January and our first start is about why we start. So for me, I wanted to hear, and I do not know the actual answer is to why we started.
We didn't
so
get
why,
many questions.
Why did we start? So why did you start your business? What made you stop doing what you were doing and decide you were going to do this?
Wow. I think that I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit, right? You know, and being a marketer, I'm a marketer by trade. So being a marketer, you have to kind of be a self-starter. You know, you have to really want to go after it. You really need to love your businesses that you work for. And then knowing a ton of stuff, at least I felt like I knew a ton of stuff. The first time I became an entrepreneur, I didn't know anything, but I thought I knew a lot. So I went for it, and as I developed it, I started to be able to figure out, okay, this is what I want to do. I'm not really comfortable working for anyone. I continued to try. I don't know if everybody did the same. I continued to try to work for other people.
At some point.
But it just didn't feel right. It just didn't feel right. I always had a different spin and a different way of doing it, and I just knew that being an entrepreneur was just for me. And so I just kind of went out on a limb and went for it.
Preach.
Yeah, right?
And?
Right?
Preach, I'm different. I'm
Really?
different.
Really?
Yeah. When I started off in this business,
Yeah.
the food business, when I was 14,
Wow.
working at a Subway, and I started seeing how you take something that costs $3 a pound that you get 10 orders out of,
Yeah.
and I immediately just saw the fact that we're charging $6 for something that cost $1.15, and it intrigued me.
Right.
And then I got burned out, real sick of the business, because as an hourly employee, you have very little say in terms of the way that things go. And as I was able to progress in terms of growing into management and beyond, I found that the more involved I could be with stuff, I could actually affect change in a good way, and I got to see the direct return. I mean, especially the food business, you start off with raw product.
Yeah.
You manufacture it yourself, you source it, you manufacture it, you make it, you market it, you sell it, you receive the money for it, and keep going. I love seeing that full circle, and you get an immediate response from people.
And you learned all this as a sandwich artist.
Always. Had to start
He
somewhere.
was the best
somewhere.
sandwich artist ever.
Sandwich artist, buffet,
Right.
you name it, I did.
All right, Chris.
I mean, I wish I had a better story for this. You know, for me, it was just about wanting to get better all the time and wanting to do more. And, some of the constrictions that come with, working for other people. I've worked for some amazing people that have gotten me to this point and inspired me to do more. And I think working for some of those people, the reason I ended up in this spot, because I saw the things that they built and what they've been able to create over time, and I wanted to be able to build and create something like that as well.
I agree.
I agree. I think that it's more, in conjunction, about creating. You have this idea, whatever it is, good or bad, and then there's nothing. And then through entrepreneurship, something is created. Something that you share, whether it's hospitality, whether it's restaurants, whether it's events, whether it's widgets, like everybody says in the business world. And you're able, widgets, right?
I think they're actually a real thing now, by the way.
They are a real thing, and they're killing me, but they're a real thing. They're a real thing. But you're able to create something, and then you're able to share it, and there's nothing better than that, in my opinion. Something that I created.
Well, all right, so we got 3 stories, so
Yeah.
and we're all going to share. So I'll be honest, I'll tell you,
Yeah.
and this is what's interesting, because it's all different. But
Yeah.
for me, I got to a point where I honestly, I can remember the moment where I got to the point where I couldn't take it, the stupidity anymore. I swear it. I got to the point where that's
You're
it.
being very
I wish-
PC.
I
You're
got-
being
I
very
got to
good
the
at
point
Twitter.
As you know, that stupidity doesn't go away.
It doesn't
No,
go
it,
away.
well,
doesn't go
but when
away.
you
It
when
just
you
becomes
reach
your stupidity.
Well, but I told somebody earlier. I said when we were talking about it, I said the partners that got together, we sat down and said, there's 7 things we will never do, right? And we all based them on guys we work for, or women, that we weren't ever going to do these things.
Yeah.
And we refer to this list often to make sure that we aren't doing it. But I do think there's definitely a creative end of it. But and there's a control. We all kind of talked about the control end of it, the creativity end. But I think there ends up being a conversation about you're big on change. Everyone, we can deal with change, but we have to feel like it's going somewhere. And I always think the guys that I meet, they're okay with someone making a mistake. And that's where I'd like to ask, do you feel like when somebody makes a mistake in your organization, you're upset about it, or is it more about, hey, if you're trying hard, I'm good with it? Because that's all I am.
I mean, I gotta be honest, I encourage it.
Yeah.
I encourage it. The caveat to that is I also demand that they're not making the same mistake twice.
Right, fair enough.
That's
Fair
where
enough.
we run into
Fair enough, fair enough.
But some of
Fair enough.
some really cool things have come out of mistakes over time, especially when you're talking about a mistake in a kitchen.
Yeah.
Some of those culinary mistakes
Or specials.
turn into Burger Brawl award-winning burgers very, very
Yes,
quickly.
they do. Yes, they do. No, for sure. And I think it's fearful because there's a lot of money at stake in mistakes, especially if you're the boss, you know? So you can't necessarily always afford, you know, large mistakes. But there's no way to avoid it. I mean, us as business owners, I can comfortably say I could literally say I probably make more mistakes than I would care to. But those mistakes have completely made me who I am today.
But they're also different than trusting someone else to make the mistakes.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's like Chris said, I'm a big fan of trying to give people the opportunity to make those decisions, so that they make the call without me. My requirement is one, that they don't make the same mistake twice, obviously.
For sure.
But two, that if they're making a decision with the mindset that I or we have provided for them, so that they can see why, so that they started it here and kept making the decision, ended up here. I might not agree with it, but if you're using that same mindset the way that I would make a decision, which is what I preach to them all the time, then I'm not going to get mad at you over it. I'm going to discuss it with you so you know how to correct it. But it's having that. How can you teach your mindset to other people so they don't make those mistakes? Because the reason that we're in this business and in the positions we are is because there aren't a lot of people working for us that are going to do that.
Let's be honest.
We're outnumbered.
I know personally I make more mistakes than everybody on staff combined.
For sure.
And if you're not making mistakes, you're not trying.
Yeah, you're not trying.
You know, and if you're not trying, you're kind of irrelevant.
You're just going through the motions.
Yeah, but I think I completely agree. And I'm not going to be surprised if that isn't a thread as we bring more business owners, CEOs in, that the successful ones find that. But that's kind of the point of I couldn't take it anymore, because I was working for a succession of people who were like micromanaging every single task. So what ended up with the teams was they ended up they literally stopped even trying, because they had to bring the argument back to one person and say, even if they had it already figured out, they had to go back to this one person. So they started going, what's the point of me deciding? What's the point of me working on it? And morale starts going down. And eventually I've been doing it long enough where I can't do it anymore. I can't.